That's the sound of a big deal. At Wayfair, that sound happens a lot. Dream sofa for half the price? Big deal. New dining table you've been eyeing for months? Big deal. Finally picking up those last few pieces and finishing that bedroom? Now that's a really big deal. Whatever your home needs, Wayfair has the selection, the savings, and over millions of 5-star reviews to back it up. Shop Wayfair.com today before someone else snags your big deal.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Want a process and some techniques to help you remember people's names? Cool. Then keep listening.
Welcome.
Okay, here's the question.
You serious?
How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph?
Come on.
Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers.
Let's go.
This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it up.
Hello, my dark horse friends and family. Welcome back to your daily dose of Change My Life in 15 minutes or less learning. I'm your dark horse host, Tracy Brinkman, and you? Yep, infinitely more importantly, you are a driven entrepreneur, a business owner, or taking steps to be one very soon. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business tips and results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. Hitting you with yet another daily success episode on the Dark Horse Entrepreneur as we dive deep into success with actionable advice, tips, and steps designed to help you level up your game because, as you already know, when it comes to success, there are no real shortcuts except for taking those little steps towards your goal every single day. Whew, wow. So here's a question for you. What is the most important word in the world to you? Think about it. Go ahead. Think about it. Yeah, that's right. Your name. The most important word in the world to anybody is their name. The most important word in the world to me is my name. Now, the skill of using someone's name during a conversation is a huge way to build rapport. Now, that's all well and good, Tracy. I can hear you thinking it, right? But hell, if I can remember a person's name, yeah, trust me, I get it. Happens to me too. Name goes in one ear, rattles around inside the head for a moment, and just seems to bolt right out the other ear just as fast. So I want to spend a little bit of time today in our short time together and chat about some ways that you can remember some people's names. See, I've read that there are a lot of memory experts out there that have this notion that we all have perfect memories, unless we have, some physical things going on, right? But we all have perfect memories, and we can remember things going all the way back to when we were little kids. However, recalling or gaining access to those memories, that's about like trying to get into a child-proof safety bottle, right? That's not always easy. All right, now, there are dozens of techniques for remembering names. Some work for some people, some don't, right? So I'm going to rattle off a few here in our short time together so you can find the ones that work for you and start to implement them in your daily routine as you need to remember those important words. Now, I would encourage you to pick 2 or 3 that work for you and because then you'll have multiple arrows in your name recalling quiver, right? But they're also handy for different situations. Like you might want to use a more visual technique when you encounter someone face to face or like on Zoom. And then when someone's given you another name, then you might want to use an association technique. So for instance, you meet Bob and then Bob mentions his wife's name. Well, you meet Bob face to face, you use that visual technique, but then you use association technique to link the name of his spouse to Bob, right? Again, the key here, use what works best for you. Now, before we go into some of the techniques, I want to go through a quick little process that you should go through each time you meet someone that you're going to need to remember their name, right? Number 1, I'm laughing as I'm thinking about this one. Listen and pay attention to the name. I know. Put down the damn pen, phone, iPod, iPad, whatever, and pay freaking attention to the name. I get it. You know it's obvious, but the other person listening right now, that person right over there, yeah, they might not realize it's so obvious. So pay attention to the name and ensure you can recall it like 5 seconds later. If you're able to recall that name 5 seconds later, you're halfway to getting it stored in your long-term memory. 2, repeat the name immediately. You see, the first sentence you utter after hearing someone's name needs to include the name. It's my pleasure to meet you, Tracy. See, you want to say that, right? But you want to say that instead of, Tracy, it's nice to meet you. Because if you say it last versus saying it first, that helps you remember the name. Saying it first is more kind of like this automatic response, and it's not really helping much in getting it tucked away where you want it. Number 3, repeat the name often. Be careful here. Don't come off sounding like a stalker, right? Overdoing it can be a little off-putting, but rather insert the name into the conversation as you're having it frequently. Number 4, end the conversation with their name. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the best way to end any conversation. Tracy, it was great to meet you. See, it's driving their name more and more into your memory, but it also shows the person that you have cared enough to remember their name. 5, comment on or ask about the name. Tracy, have you always been called Tracy, or do people call you Trace or Terry? By the way, yes, they do. All right. Do you spell your name Tracy with a Y or an IE? I get asked that a lot. If the name's really unique, ask about the origin story of the name or compliment the name. I mean, if you feel it's worth complimenting it. Don't fake it here, right? And then number 6, review. After the conversation's over, pause and review their name and in the face in your mind several times. Repeat this a number of times over the next 24 hours. Here's the cool thing. As you get better with steps 1 through 5, that last step, number 6, the review, that one's going to become less necessary. Now, our senses and our emotions all, work together inside our head, right? Well, your memory works with all those signals those senses and emotions have as well. So incorporate more of your emotions and senses in the remembering of a name. Doing this will make it harder to forget. Okay, so some techniques now for remembering names. Number 1, face association, right? This is an easy one, right? When you're being introduced, pause and discreetly examine the person's face, right? Don't go oogly, right? But, find something unique, maybe the ears or hairline or nose, eyebrows, right? The chin, the lips, right? The cheek, I don't know, maybe they got his funky beard, whatever. Create an association between the characteristic of the face and the name in your mind. You may have to associate that characteristic with someone you already know that has the same name, or you may have to associate it with a rhyme or an image that the name in that person's face with that defining feature. That will help you link those associations together. Number 2, substitution. Take a person's name and substitute objects that you can visualize with the name. Then associate the objects with the person's amount. For example, I had a boss when I worked at Coca-Cola. His name was Arnie Enevolson. And I substituted and it became Arnie in a Volkswagen. That made his name a lot easier to remember. That was over 2.5 decades ago, and I still remember it. Or say it's Murphy. Well, you could use Murphy's oil soap, right? Picture them pouring the soap all over themselves while doing the moonwalk. Why moonwalking? Well, come on. Right? See, the thing is, the more outrageous you make the visualization, the better it will stick. Plus, moonwalking is just cool, right? All right? But don't giggle while you're making these pictures in your head. I'm just saying. Number 3, paint their name on their forehead. Wait, stop. Not literally. In your imagination, right? Use your favorite color paint or cool silvery marker and see each letter as you put it on their forehead. Word of caution here, don't stare directly at their forehead when you're doing this technique. Keep looking between their eyes. Number 4, associate with someone you know. Link them with someone that you know that has the same name. Picture that person that you already know that has their name in the situation that you are currently in. So, for example, if I met an Albert, I could picture my dad, whose name is Albert, standing in the same spot as this new Albert I'm just now meeting. And I could further drive that association home by visualizing my dad doing something he's known for doing. Like, my dad had this crazy laugh, very loud laugh, or he could be standing there painting a wooden child's toy, right? See, that would help me link, that's Albert. Now, here's a cool thing I need you to just go ahead and grasp onto. It's not a cool thing, but it's an important fact. If you forget a person's name anytime during that first conversation, ask. Yeah, it's easy. Don't be embarrassed about it. Just ask. Hell, we all forget. I mean, most people forget names, and we all understand that. So make it a point to humble yourself and re-ask for the name again, so that you can show that you care about learning the name. All right, so try these techniques. They'll feel a little odd at first if you've never done this before, but as you keep practicing, they'll actually become second nature. And as they become second nature, remembering names will really become this automatic process for you, right? And remembering names, right? Really goes a long way for building rapport, and it helps people to get to know and like you far quicker. Here's a great practice technique. Now that you've got these, right? You could actually sit down later tonight and grab a magazine, right? And go through it and try these techniques to learn the people's names in the magazine. But no cheating. No using a magazine who you know most of the names in the first place. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with that. And like I always do, think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
And you know this!
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.